And this is an explosion for this game.
6 seconds to go in the half. The ball in the hands of LeBron James. Here's LeBron, kicks it out, Gibson for 3. Halftime at the Palace of Auburn Hills. And an excellent first half for the Cavaliers here on the road, led by that man, LeBron James. 14 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. The bench producing. Anderson Varejao, 10 points in the second quarter, 4 of 5 from the field, along with 8 rebounds. Let's go to Craig and LeBron.
Well, LeBron, not only the 14 points and the 4 assists, but 9 different times you've gotten into the paint. Talk about how much more aggressive you are and more successful tonight.
You have to be aggressive against this team. You can't just hold the ball on the perimeter, do a great job of shrinking the floor. So just try to attack early in the offense and just see little spots I can create.
Last 3 days, a lot of people have been criticizing your play in Game 1, saying you're too unselfish, especially the guys in our studio. Who'd you really listen to?
Just my teammates and myself. I know I made the right decision in the last game on Monday, so you come with the same mindset today and just try to get a win.
All right, thanks a lot. Right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers with a 50-point half, and we'll be back with Mark Fine hosting our T-Mobile halftime report from the Palace at Auburn Hills in just a moment.
On a 20-8 run as they lead the Detroit Pistons 50-38, trailing 1 game to none in the best-of-7 Eastern Conference Finals. Mark Fine alongside Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, Magic Johnson. Guys, you know, LeBron says that he wasn't listening to you guys. He tells Craig Sager that he only listens to his teammates, but I'll tell you what, Kenny, it looked like he was listening to you in the first half.
Well, he shouldn't listen to us. He should listen to his teammates and coaching staff. But the one thing that you saw, when a great player decides to be aggressive, great things happen. When a great player decides to go to the basket and finish plays, great things happen. And I think that's all you wanted from the other night. If you look at here, as LeBron gets the ball here, he goes to the basket, and as you slow it down, you see Larry Hughes is open in the corner. You see Chauncey Billups coming and trying to take up a charge. He said, forget it. I'm going to go in there, and I can be special and do something special. And he finishes the play. Here, you have a pick and roll. As he starts to drive to the pick and roll, you see 3 defenders coming. You see, oh, that same shot is open for Donyell Marshall, and the same D. Jones is open, Gibson's open. He says, you know what? I don't know. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to finish the play. And then lastly, this is almost identical. You have the open floor. You have the pick and roll. He drives. He gets a step on Max Hill. Rasheed Wallace is coming over. Oh, Donyell Marshall's open again. But he says Gibson's open. And D. Jones is open. And he says, I'm not going to do it. He won't admit it, of course, because great players are not going to admit that they made mistakes. But he knows that he has to be more aggressive, and they don't make the same, great players don't make the same mistake 2 nights in a row.
And Magic, you said you guys weren't attacking that one play. You were talking about the way he carried himself all game long.
You have to remember, the reason they're up at halftime is because of what Kenny showed you. When LeBron is aggressive, he makes all the role players be aggressive as well. Cleveland is playing a great game right now because of LeBron James' mindset and his aggressive play on offense. That made everybody else comfortable on offense that they can be aggressive too because their superstar is aggressive.
They're 7-1 in the playoffs when LeBron James leads the game in scoring. So obviously they've got to keep him going.
Well, he's going to make those guys better. Now what's going to happen? In game 1, he was really passive. Tonight he's aggressive. Now Detroit has to make the adjustment. Now they're really going to be aggressive in the 3rd and 4th quarters. And that'll open those jumpers up. It'll free up Donyell Marshall. You can't put him in the game in the last play of the game and say, hit a shot. But now, those guys going to get those shots out of rhythm. Gibson's played well. Goska's played well. But your best, look, for Cleveland to win this series, he's got to be the best player on the floor 4 out of 7 games. He was the best player on the court in the first half. Now he's got to finish the second half.
All right, real quick on Detroit, all the brains here, all the basketball smarts. Nobody told me before the start of the game that Jason Maxiell was going to be a key for the Pistons in the first.
Well, those people haven't been watching the Pistons because this guy has been an energy player since he's been here. And since the fact of the matter is if Chris Webber doesn't come, he would be getting all of those minutes. He's really come in and done a great job today. But this is something that Pistons fans and people who watch the Pistons have seen all year.
And then what I want to say is about LeBron, just like we're watching San Antonio. Duncan is special. Ginobili is special. Tony Parker is playing special. That's why they're up 2-0. The superstars gotta win big games. So LeBron has not only got to play great in the second half, but he's got to take this game on to game 3, 4, 5, 6, and on.
Yeah, a little premature by the fans in Detroit here, by the way. They trail at 50-38. We had a little something here, guys, before the start of the game. A little sign in the stands.
Yeah, that's a little premature. They got D. Jones fishing, everybody fishing. But,
hey, that was a D. Jones sighting tonight.
Yes, sir.
Put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play.
They put him in. They definitely put him in.
I think the Utah Jazz are going to win that series.
Do you? Because
number one, they had deer in the headlights in the first quarter. They had deer in the headlights. They were nervous. I think they don't have an answer for Williams. I think Booz and Duncan going to be standing still. They will adjust. Karolinko's going to do a better job on Ginobili. Mehmet Okur is going to be a big difference. I think they're going to win that series.
All right, back on the T-Mobile halftime report. There he is, Chuck Stradamus. You started. Let me start calling you Flipper. You started with San Antonio, then you went to Utah. You going back now? It's
I picked San Antonio to win the whole thing. I still think.
Well, they can't win the whole thing if they don't win this series.
No, but I'm saying I think obviously. I changed my pick to Utah. I still think if they got to win the next two, I think they can win the series. But they got to play better. Okur has not played well. Boozer has actually played great. Williams has played great. They're not getting anything out of Karolinko or Mehmet Okur. And my man Paul Millsap ain't played well either. I love
the one thing I will say that in defense of Chuck, but I don't think they can win the series.
Right.
They are probably the only team in the West equipped to beat San Antonio. They have the pieces, but their pieces aren't experienced.
No.
And I think that's going to be the difference. They're too young in those positions and too late playoff.
They can't beat them.
Well, they are 6-0 at home in the playoffs, though. They got no chance of turning around, you're saying.
Tony Parker is playing on top of his game right now, penetrating, driving kicks. Ginobili now has found his game. In the last series, in the last 2 games, he found it. He's playing fantastic right now. And Tim Duncan, the quiet superstar, is playing like
He's
a superstar.
running and dunking. Like you didn't
yes.
see him doing that. I don't think Madge in the last couple of
And give Bowen some credit, too. He's hitting them threes. They're playing great basketball.
I'm not off the Utah bandwagon yet.
All right, we got to see if we can impress the Chuckster here as we head to break. A little entertainment. Does that impress the Chuckster?
Hell no.
the Detroit Pistons. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, and Doug Collins. And what a turnaround for LeBron James. We heard Charles Magic and Kenny touch on it, but it's quite a difference when you look at how he came out as opposed to game 1.
Well, he attacked early. He didn't wait for that defense to load up on him, and he got to the foul line 5 times, which was big. But I think the most important factor of that first half, Cleveland got 19 points from their bench. Gibson, Damon Jones knocked down a couple threes, and that really changed the game.
And for Chauncey Billups, once again, struggling against Cleveland. The other night, 7 turnovers, 5 assists. Tonight, more turnovers and assists once again. 3 turnovers, 2 assists, only 1 field goal attempt. Cleveland's done a great job on Rip Hamilton. So right now, Mike Brown has to be very, very pleased with what his defense has done.
Now look at tonight's Chrysler game summary. Cavaliers at 48% from the field, 20 of 42. Pistons just 16 of 37 for 43%. Cavs hit just 1 from three-point range in game 1. They're 3 of 9, 2 of the threes by Daniel Gibson. And again, Cleveland with the edge in terms of points in the paint. Let's check it with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, they were talking about attacking early by LeBron and his quick decisions. Flip Saunders says that is confusing Detroit's defense. He goes, they don't know whether to come at him and double team or to cover his teammates, and they're being very slow to react. As for Chauncey Billups, he goes, he's not looking for his shot. He's not being aggressive. He's not playing like Chauncey. And yes, we will see a lot of Jason Maxiell in the second half.
Jason Maxiell led the way in the first quarter. And Jason Maxiell, the high point man for Detroit, 5 of 7, 11 points in 13 minutes of play. Cavaliers in possession as this third quarter gets underway. Here is James, and the rebound through the hands of Wallace, and then able to recapture. In game 1 Monday night, Pistons scored the first 7 points of the third quarter to come from behind to take the lead. They have been very strong in third quarters throughout the postseason. Pavlovich defending on Hamilton. He went behind the back to free himself up.
Something he's gotten so much better at the last few years. He didn't used to be able to create his own shot. We've seen him so often come off those curls and beat his man without the ball, but now he's able to do it with the ball.
Hughes and Pavlovich in the backcourt with James. Ilgauskas good up front, good, lost his balance, recovered by Pavlovich to the crossover and to the fadeaway. What a move by Sasha Pavlovich.
Just the way Mike Brown diagrammed that.
52-40, Cleveland. They try to tie the series at 1 as it heads back to Cleveland for a Game 3 on Sunday night right here on TNT. Prince Ilgauskas came out, got a piece of it, and it was last touched by Gooden.
One of the things that Flip Saunders talked about after Game 1, he said, you know, I thought we got out of our offense a little bit and tried to play a little bit too much one-on-one. We're seeing a little bit of that here in the third quarter. This Detroit team is a synergistic team. They feed off of one another, and they're much better as a team than they are individually.
Dude, you don't use words like that.
I don't even know what it means.
Hamilton. And back come the Cavaliers. And here's Hughes. Rebound Wallace. 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Prince trying to shoot his way back into it. Cannot find the touch. Hamilton gets to it. Rebounded by James, an aggressive rebound, but James lost the dribble.
It went off of Rashid's foot. You know, we're seeing Tayshaun Prince really struggle here. 0 for 5, 1 for 16 now in the series. And you know, we talked about how he's got to defend LeBron. I also think players who have some of those unorthodox strokes, you see that elbow out, same kind of shot as like Josh Childress or Sean Marion. I think guys like that maybe have a little bit longer of a stretch where they're going to miss because they can't rely on their form to bring them back. So you start, throwing that elbow out too much, you get into a little rut, tougher to get back into your groove.
Pistons get it back. Slow start for both teams here in the third quarter. Weber looking very active in the early moments. And here is Weber. He's had the good looks, but just 2 of 9 for the field. LeBron walking it up. Knocked away by Weber. Ilgauskas had it slapped off his hand. Detroit gets it back.
Too much space to try to throw that pass. Rasheed Wallace read it all the way, come over and knocks it. You've got to get better spacing. If LeBron has to swing it and look over the top, that ball was in the air way too long.
How about Prince 0 for 5, Weber 2 of 9, Hamilton 2 for 9. The bench kept them in it in the first half. Phillips with a fadeaway. It's a 2. He had a foot on the line.
I like what Detroit did. They got some rhythm offensively before the shot came. A little X-cut off of the post. And that's what both teams need to do here. We're seeing a lot of stagnant offense.
Now trying to get Ilgauskas going. Try to call for time. No, he's tied up.
Well, Chauncey Billups is a combo guard, so if it's not going well for him with the ball in his hands, he has the ability to play off the ball. And, we were talking today at our production meeting, who does he remind you of? He reminds me a little bit of a young Joe Dumars. When Joe played with Isaiah Vinnie Johnson, he could be on top of the floor as a lead guard. He could play off the ball. He was a good defender, clutch three-point shooter. So maybe when Joe Dumars reached out to sign this guy, he saw a little of himself.
Phillips kicked it out. Hamilton. Phillips with the assist. Hamilton showing some signs. The Cleveland lead is down to 8. Shot clock to 5. Pavlovich from downtown. trying to squeeze his way in, and he is fouled. Foul on Pavlovich, his first.
You know, this is just so different from some of the Western Conference games we did in Golden State and Phoenix. And I think one of the reasons is that neither of these clubs has a really fast point guard, a guy who can just push the ball and generate pace and generate speed. These are two methodical teams, and they're more comfortable when they're slowing it down. Chauncey Billups, he's not a guy who's going to go blow past you, but he kind of wants to lull you to sleep.
Oh, Weber wide open, and a good look. Here come the Pistons, making their third quarter run, and the Cavs call for time.
Well, we saw it in the first half. They're so concerned about Rip Hamilton coming off those screens. They're almost running him into a pre-trap. Well, the big man recognized it, slips it. We saw it earlier in the game. This time it's with Weber.
Welcome back to Auburn Hills, where the Cavaliers and owner Dan Gilbert have seen a 12-point halftime lead, cut down to just 6. Earlier today, TNT's own NBA legend Magic Johnson made a special visit to Wisdom U, located on the Wayne State campus. It's an entrepreneurship that is created and funded by Dan Gilbert. Magic hosted a discussion with the students about the growth of his business ventures and shared ideas on business startups in urban neighborhoods, something that obviously Magic knows something about. Magic owns 10 different companies, 110 Starbucks, and has 2 funds, 1 equity and 1 real estate, each worth over $1 billion. NBA cares, continuing a tradition of basketball and service to the community. Mark?
All right, thank you, Craig. Detroit has opened up this third quarter, outscoring the Cavaliers 8-2. They had that lead down to 6. Shot clock down to 2, and as James looks for the shot, the foul is called. The crowd did not like the call. LeBron was shaken up.
And what was working for Cleveland in that second quarter, the movement, the activity, they've gotten very stagnant. And Rip Hamilton's going to reach in there at the last minute. You see hit LeBron James in the face. The foul occurred before that, so it'll be sideline out.
Cavaliers have led by as many as 12. They had the 12-point lead at halftime. We're not seeing the same kind of movement here in the third quarter that we saw in the first half from Cleveland. And Gooden's pass picked off. Trying to get it to Ilgauskas. Weber with a nice feed, and Phillips decided to throw it back the other way. Here's Hamilton for 3. Rebounded by Ilgauskas.
Well, the other thing we're seeing in this third quarter is renewed energy from the Detroit defense. We just saw Rip Hamilton pound LeBron James up and down the floor. You can see that this is their time when they usually make a push, and they do it defensively.
That one is open for 3. Last touch on the Cavaliers.
LeBron gets guys wide open shots. I mean, that's a wide open 3 in the shortest spot there on the floor, and he just couldn't knock it down. So somebody's got to make some shots. And Steve, you're right. I mean, the Detroit Pistons are picking up the activity level defensively, and that's their calling card. When they play well defensively, they are tough to beat.
Phillips for 3. And how things have turned here in the third.
Well, look at Billups up the floor here. We saw it with Rip Hamilton, this time with Billups, so they're pressuring the ball, knowing that Cleveland really doesn't have that point guard that can get you smoothly into your offense. You disrupt the ball at the point guard, and it takes you out of all the rhythm of your offense.
Cavaliers 1 of 6 from the field. Here in the third quarter, they've turned it over 3 times. Meanwhile, the Pistons hitting their shots. Phillips from the angle from 3-point territory.
Well, Billups looking to be a little more aggressive, and you know his shots are coming from a different angle in this series. Normally, he's a guy who comes off screen and roll, likes to pull up mid-range, but Cleveland has taken that away from him. I think what Billups is realizing now is he's got to be a spot-up shooter. He's got to look to catch and shoot. You look what he did in the fourth quarter the other night. That's what I always admire about great players. They can be in the midst of a horrible game but in crunch time, they find a way to get it done, and that's what Chauncey does.
And both of those threes happened right in front of Mike Brown, and he could see them coming, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was like he was just like, I know these are going to go in, and it was just right at the right time for Detroit.
And now that's 2 timeouts that Cleveland has called here in the third. Remember the other night, the Cavaliers were left without a timeout when they got the ball back with 2.5 seconds. So Mike Brown has to be very careful here about burning timeouts during this Pistons run.
Cavaliers have been outscored 11-2 here in the third quarter, halfway through. Good job by Rasheed on LeBron James. Shot clock to 2. Pavlovich. Oh, he bailed that possession out.
Well, see, what happened there is Flip Saunders came out into one of the rare times we've seen him play zone, and a lot of times coaches do that to take you out of the play the coach just drew out coming out of the timeout.
Cleveland up 54-49. Wallace on the low block. Lost it. Bernie Pryor, the outside official, says last touch by the Cavaliers, and here is the energy man off the bench, Anderson Varejao, coming on for Drew Gooden.
We'll see some movement now.
Varejao had a sensational first half. Hamilton on a catch and shoot with the clock running down. Wallace is on it and is able to bang it off the leg of James.
Mark, Cleveland has 2 field goals in this period. We played almost 7 minutes, and both of them have been shots at the end of the shot clock by Pavlovich. So, I mean, the only 2 field goals they have come at the end of the clock.
Phillips is tripped up, trying to split his way through. Foul committed by Hughes. That is his first non-shooting foul. And for the Cavaliers, their second team foul. Pistons with just 1. This is game 2 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference Final. The Cavaliers hoping to even things up as they head back to Cleveland for Sunday night's game. And Detroit seeking to take a 2-0 lead. Jason Maxiell has checked back in, coming on for Rasheed Wallace. Maxiell had the big first half, 5 of 7, 11 points in 14 minutes of play. Phillips delivers to Maxiell.
Great pass by Phillips, just reading the defense and then drops it for Maxiell. I think Flip Saunders seeing Varejao in the game. He says, I better get my energy guy back in there too.
54-51. Cleveland just under 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Ron gets the screen. Ilgauskas rolling to the basket. Varejao kept it alive. Jonas Ilgauskas came up with a big game the other night, not able to do it thus far. Maxiell continues his hot shooting, doing it from all angles. He has brought Detroit within 1.
How about the confidence in Rip Hamilton to give the ball up to him, though, to take that 10-foot jump shot? I thought Rip was going to shoot the jumper, and he gave it to his teammate.
Varejao tried to adjust the move. Varejao under pressure, rejected, and taken away by Weber. Weber with the lead. He thought Hamilton was deeper on the cut, so the Cavaliers will take possession.
It's almost like an instant replay of the first half. Maxiell comes into the game. He gets a couple baskets. He blocks a shot. The crowd gets energized. And this guy's everywhere here tonight. Varejao with a pump fake, and Maxiell, one man removed, just comes over the top of Weber and blocks the shot.
Cavaliers with only 4 points thus far in this third quarter. They've been outscored 15-4. Gibson has just checked in. That shot deflected short by Hamilton.
You can just feel this happening, can't you? The Detroit defense just squeezing Cleveland, and Cavaliers getting nothing.
Hamilton draws the foul. It is on Gibson.
Well, after a 34-point second quarter, they have 4 points here, and we've played a little over 7 minutes in this period. So I think the level of the defense started up the floor, Steve. You really pointed that out. And once they start pressuring them, Cleveland has been slow getting into their offense.
Daniel Marshall now defending on Chris Weber. Seal leaping forward, but James took it away. Phillips is back. Here comes James, and the ball was stripped. Prince knocked it aside. James wanted a foul call. Will not get it.
Well, he wanted a foul. He may have gotten away with a travel here because it's a little bit of an awkward move right there. Kind of steps into the play. And I like the effort. I mean, you have to attack if you're LeBron in the open court because Cleveland's getting nothing in the half court.
LeBron has attempted only one shot in this third quarter after being very aggressive in the first half. They double up on James. A single coverage with Prince. And that was a very tough pass to attack. He had no room.
You know, when you're on the road in this kind of environment, Marv, you look for your star player to energize and give your team confidence. Right now, Cleveland's on the ropes a little bit, so this is where they need LeBron in some way to either score or find an open shooter to give his team confidence they can win here tonight.
Fourth turnover of the third quarter committed on the Cavaliers. Prince spinning, finds room. The tip missed. Weber lost it. Varejao came away with it. Here comes James. And that's a charge. Oh, no! They called it the other way. The Pistons in disbelief, but it's a blocking foul. Foul on Hamilton. His third. Timeout taken for tonight's In the City. Presented by Dodge, the all-new Best Picture on TV.
Well, Cleveland 2 for 12 in this quarter, 4 turnovers, and the 2 makes were bailout shots from Pavlovich. Let's take a look at what Detroit is doing to LeBron James. They're loading up. Look at the defense here. 3 people basically on that far side of the lane just waiting for LeBron. Nowhere for him to go, and that's what's happening with Cleveland. They're trying to run pick and roll with LeBron, but everybody's just waiting for him. I think they're going to have to start putting him away from the ball, maybe getting some weak side movement. You got to give a lot of credit to the Piston defense, though.
And if you're going to run screen roll, let Weber be the guy that has to defend you, not Max Seal. He's their best screen roll defender. The problem is he's guarding Varejao, and they like Varejao in that pick and roll. But if you're going to do it, get Weber involved, not Max Seal.
Cavaliers only 2 of 12 shooting in the third quarter. The Pistons 7 for 17 as they have now come within a point after trailing by 12 at halftime. LeBron James has attempted only 1 shot in this third quarter. As it opened, Danielle Marshall, and he knocks it down.
And he had a big shot.
Where was that the other night?
A 3 from Marshall. The Cavaliers say they did rehearse that play in practice. They ran it again, and Marshall hit the shot, the one from the corner, which would have been the game winner, but it did not count.
And he said his teammates mobbed him, which was great.
That's good. They practiced the celebration.
Yeah.
All right, there's Hamilton for 3. Yes! Rip Hamilton right back from three-point land. The Cavaliers by 1. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, more on that. I asked Daniel Marshall how many times he had reenacted that shot from Monday night. He said 100, and he made 65 of the 100.
I don't know. You believe that? As Varejao goes down, foul is called.
A little easier in practice, though, isn't it? I mean,
it was sort of funny. We were talking about the Cleveland players mobbed him, and the Detroit media sort of made fun of him and said, we're glad he can do that in practice. Whichever way you want to look at it.
Just spin it your way.
Foul on Weber, Pistons' 4th team foul. Cavaliers have 3. Just under 2 minutes to play in the third. And again a foul. That puts the Pistons over the limit. And again, you can see the activity of Varejao creating some problems. Weber again, that's his second. So Varejao to the line. Reminder, Saturday on ABC to be Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. The Spurs and the Jazz. Spurs up 2 games to nothing. Coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Sunday right here on TNT Game 3 of this Eastern Conference Final between the Pistons and Cavs starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then Monday on ESPN, Game 4 between the Spurs and the Jazz. Cavaliers 7 of 11 at the line. Pistons down by 1. Once again, they've come up with the productive third quarter after a poor first half. Prince cannot find the bucket, and it's deflected out. Last touch by the Cavaliers.
He's short-arming everything. You can tell now he's starting to think about it. Last two jump hooks, he's left short. He's just lost his confidence in his rhythm.
0 for 7 for Tayshaun Prince, coming off the 1 of 11 the other night. Weber. First time the Pistons have led since the second quarter, when they were up briefly. They had a 30-28 lead about midway through the second. Chris Weber producing tonight. 8 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. James pass intercepted. Picked off by Hamilton. Weber on the move. And his foul.
You know, Mark, Steve and I were talking during the break, and I'm with Steve. I think you've got to get LeBron James off the ball right now and work him and let him catch the ball where he can go quickly with it. When that ball is in his hands, you got 10 eyes on him, 5 sets of eyes know everything that he's doing. They got to free him up a little bit. And right now, Detroit has just, their defense is locked down on him, and they can get nothing at all.
Foul committed by Marshall. Weber, just a 64% foul shooter during the regular season. So Detroit now leads by 2. It's been a similar pattern. Game 1. Pistons have the advantage in the third quarter, turning around that halftime deficit, and the same story here tonight.
We talk about it so often. You know, when you mentioned it early in the telecast, Doug, when they feel threatened, that's when they turn it on. And you see it at the defensive end, picking up full court, bodying everybody, loading up on LeBron. And when their defense gets going, that results in better offense as well.
Shot clock down to 7. Gibson for 3. Yes. How about the rookie from Texas, Daniel Gibson, and he's given Cleveland a 1-point lead. Gibson with 9 points. That's his third three-pointer.
Well, they took LeBron off the ball that time. They brought him off a little handoff from Gibson at the top, and then he was able to skip it back across. So, Steve, they were listening. Mike Brown was listening to you, and he got him off the ball, and he got him a 3-point shot.
Well, it results in better spacing when you run your offense that way, because the defense is scrambling rather than loading up, and then the passing angles are a little bit easier too. And I thought Gibson showed great poise. The pass was a little off. He looked like he was going to swing it to the corner, but I like what I'm seeing. This is a rookie here in a huge moment. It's the third 3 he's hit, and he looks like he's very confident when he goes up to shoot.
Foul on Gibson, putting Hamilton at the line. That's 3 on Gibson. Rip Hamilton, one of the best foul shooters in the NBA, making his first appearances at the line.
Also, to the recognition, look who Mike Brown has on the floor right now. He has Damon Jones, Daniel Gibson, Daniel Marshall. He has the 3 best three-point shooters and the most active rebounder around the board. So the recognition of somebody's going to have to make some shots, so you put your best three-point shooters out there. Now you got to hope that defensively they can do the job against this Pistons offense.
Lindsey Hunter back in and providing problems for Daniel Gibson. 6-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. James pops it out. Here's Damon Jones. 5 on the 24. Gibson. Marshall for 3. Yes! Daniel Marshall with his second three-pointer. We're down to 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Cavs lead by 3. Final seconds of the quarter. Delfino for 3. Oh, he almost banked it home. After 3 here at the Palace. Detroit outscoring Cleveland 22-13 in the third. But the Cavaliers have a fourth quarter underway. Cleveland with a 63-60 lead on Detroit. And the Pistons turn it over. Ron James attempting only 1 shot in the third quarter after an assertive first half at the offensive end. Mike Brown going with Daniel Gibson and Damon Jones. Gibson with a 4th shot. And back comes Prince. Tayshaun Prince just 0 for 7 following the 1 of 11 the other night. Carlos Delfino back on the floor. Lindsey Hunter is there. Jason Maxiell and Rasheed Wallace. Wallace and Prince the only starters. The ball's knocked aside, and Last touch by Wallace.
One of the things we talked about to start the game was Detroit was going to have to do a better job on the backboard. They gave up 18 offensive rebounds in game 1. Tonight, only 7. But the difference now for Cleveland tonight is only a 1 for 10 night. The other night from 3. Tonight, they're 6 of 15. They have their three-point shooters on the floor now. And it looks like Detroit says anytime Gibson or Damon Jones catch the ball, they're going to run at them and chase them off that little catch and shoot.
Mike Brown showing confidence in the rookie Gibson. Chauncey Billups is back defending on Gibson. Donyell Marshall's hit 2 from three-point land. LeBron James off the dribble, challenges Prince, and that will count. It's a goaltend. The ball is knocked aside, so James gets credit for the field goal.
You can see if Detroit's defense is 1 split second late when they try to load up on LeBron, that's it. That's all LeBron needs. That's why they have to be so attentive to exactly where he is.
16 points for James. Cavaliers up by 5. Prince trying to take advantage of Gibson. Delfino for 3, yes.
Well, one of the problems for Cleveland is that when they put their shooters in the game, Gibson and Damon Jones, those guys are their weakest defenders in the backcourt. So you see, Saunders goes to Prince and Billups. They're going to post up, bring a double team. That should give some open looks to the Detroit perimeter players.
Second three-pointer for Delfino, 65-63, Cleveland. Varejao sets the pick and roll, and Billups falls to the foul, trying to strip him, and made contact.
That's sort of their go-to play in this series. It worked so well for them last year, and it's at the middle pick and roll with LeBron James and Varejao, and it looked like Chauncey Billups tried to get over there just a little bit too late. You talked about the rotations. There's Chauncey. Looked like he tried to get a hand in there. Varejao will go to the line and shoot 2 free throws where he just missed him.
Anderson Varejao, 24-year-old out of Santa Teresa, Brazil. Played in the Brazilian League. Played 3 years for FC Barcelona in the European League. He was the #1 pick in the second round by Orlando in 2004, and then draft rights traded to Cleveland. What a pickup for the Cavaliers. (67-63) Cleveland lead. Billups going blast.
Yeah, I think this is the time for him to be aggressive, and he realizes that. He's got several reserves in the game right now, at least a couple with Delfino and Maxiel. Hamilton on the bench, Prince struggling, but this is Billups' time.
Billups has been efficient. He's hit all 4 of his shots, 12 points. The other night, 10 of his 13 came in the fourth quarter. Shot clock down to 2. James has to force it. Delfino pulls it down. Here's Delfino with the lead, and the foul is called. Maxiel cutting toward the rim, and he was held. Foul on Marshall.
We see Chauncey Billups is off the ball right now. Steve talked about Tayshaun Prince not shooting well, so what do? They put Tayshaun Prince on top of the floor, let him enter their offense, and now Chauncey is coming off those screens, and now he's got more room to work. So that's the versatility of Tayshaun Prince. So you look at his box score and you say, well, he's 0 for 7, but he's defending against LeBron James, and now he's entering the offense so that Chauncey Billups can be a scorer.
Maxiel not a good free throw shooter, and demonstrating that tonight, just 1 of 5 at the line, 63% during the regular season. The Pistons 6 for 14 at the line. James got the step. Rebounded by Wallace. Billups on the move, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Gibson. Three minutes in, fourth quarter. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Doug Collins, Craig Sager. 2-point lead for Cleveland. They've led by as many as 12. And that 12-point lead at the half. Billups stripped from behind. Gibson came up with that play. Has a 3-on-2. James. 69-65 Cavaliers.
One of the first easy buckets we've seen LeBron get in the first 2 games. And it's because of the turnover and the run out It's something, again, that Cleveland did not take advantage of in Game 1 when Detroit had those 16 turnovers.
Phillips trying to back in Gibson. Lost it. Knocked out of his hands. Marshall, wide open for three. Varejao gives it right back. This time Phillips all over Marshall. They have the new shot clock. James off the dribble, draws the foul on Delfino. Timeout is called with 4 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter. The Cavaliers up by 4. And Cleveland showing its defensive skills. The steal by Gibson and leads to this. Palace time now for Steve's Refreshing Thoughts, sponsored by Coors Light.
That's all? Nothing sarcastic? All right. From you? All right, we got two very low-scoring teams here, particularly when they play against each other. 79-76 in Game 1. Another low scorer here. So I'm wondering, what's the lowest combined point total for a conference final game in playoff history?
Good one.
And ironically enough, it did involve these Detroit Pistons, or at least a very recent version of them, against the Pacers. 134 points combined. It was a 69-65 Piston win.
So sorry we weren't broadcasting that game.
And did you do it at this time? Because what's the score of our game right now?
Look at that.
Wow.
69-65. 8 minutes to go.
I mean, that's really refreshed me.
Are you refreshed?
I'm refreshed.
You feeling it?
Here's David Jones trying the three. Ends up in the hands of Tayshaun Prince. Steve, you are the master of irony.
Thank you, Mark.
A dice wide open. Varejao got a piece of it. Here's Wallace on the follow. Cavaliers 69, the Pistons 67.
Well, can these young Cleveland Cavaliers, in this kind of environment, hold on to this game against a much more experienced Piston team that's used to winning these kind of playoff games?
Varejao on the low post. And it is a traveling violation.
Rasheed Wallace had given up on the play after he bit on the pump fake. He said, I'm just going to foul this guy. He clubbed him across the head, but it was after the travel was called. Take a look. Good position for Varejao, and he picked up both pivot feet. He may have traveled twice there. And at that point, Rasheed just says, I got a free crack at him.
Phillips facing the double. Wallace off the angle for three. Detroit has a 1-point lead. Mike Brown takes a timeout.
You know, it's almost the same scenario the other night, Marv. Cleveland had gone up, and Rasheed hit a big three like that late in the game that helped them push finally into the lead. But you cannot leave Rasheed Wallace. He and Chauncey Billups are the two guys that love to take these deep threes.
Eastern Conference Finals on TNT. Brought to you by Chrysler. Engineered beautifully. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. By Old Spice Body Spray. And by Vitamin Water. It works for Chauncey Billups.
The drama of solving a crime comes from finding justice for someone who's seeking it.
There's a moment where the pieces all fit together.
I know what this looks like, Chief. This kid's no gangster.
That's what it's about.
The Closer. The new season premieres Monday, June 18th on TNT.
This is an Eastern Conference final. We do not want to leak out ever. We want to go rebound. We want to come with it. Come with it. Hey, let's get a defensive stop right now. Here we go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, play on.
Well, both benches Both head coaches with a good deal of intensity at this point.
Well, this is that time right now, Marv. Again, Cleveland is going to be challenged, and do they have enough? One of the things we know about Detroit is they're a great closing team. They normally don't turn the ball over. They have great guard play. They have timely three-point shooting, and they have 3 or 4 different guys that they can go to for big hoops.
A moment ago, Rasheed Wallace hit the 3 from the elbow to give the Pistons a 1-point lead. And Hughes lost it. The ball back to Detroit.
Tough break for Hughes, who has sat for a long time because Mike Brown chose to go with his young shooters. And Hughes maybe could have gotten a foul call there on Billups, who got in his way, but turnover there. And Brown going with Hughes and Ilgauskas, going with experience.
Consecutive turnovers by the Cavaliers. Cleveland is led by as many as 12. They had the 12-point lead at the half. They clear it out for Wallace. And Ilgauskas reaching for the rebound.
Ilgauskas has been very quiet tonight. He was terrific the other night. 22 points tonight, only 3 points, 1 of 6. He's not been able to get going. Can he give them something here at the finish in the post?
Dice running. Ilgauskas keeping the ball away. Hughes getting entangled and lost it. Wallace with the steal. And here's Wallace going right at LeBron James. 2 big buckets for Rasheed Wallace.
Execution under pressure.
7 unanswered by the Pistons. All 7 points scored by Rasheed. Detroit by 3. James thought he had someone in the corner, but he saw the blue shirts of the Pistons bench.
Well, we know that Detroit has so many options to go to, and from one game to the next, it changes. But generally speaking, in the fourth quarter, these are the 2 guys they like to go to. You see the numbers from game 1, and once again, Rasheed Wallace and Billups taking control here.
Cavaliers have turned it over 4 straight times. Billups lost Hughes on the pick. Rebounded by Hughes. Just under 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. James spinning. Another Cleveland turnover. That's 5 consecutive. Hamilton met by Pavlovich. Hamilton to the step back. What a beautiful move.
Mark, one of the things I mentioned was Detroit doesn't just have one guy. They can go to multiple guys. You've seen Rip Hamilton hit a shot, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace. We've seen the ball in LeBron James' hands. Who is going to give him some help here at the end of the game?
Mike Brown's going to run out of timeouts. A 9-0 run for the Pistons. 5 consecutive turnovers committed by the Cavaliers. Pistons by Shell, advanced performance.
Well, Rasheed Wallace the other night was terrific. He had big plays in the fourth quarter, 7 block shots for the game, which is a career high, 12 rebounds. We're seeing it once again tonight. This is winning time, and this is where he has fit so well into this team. Defensively, knocks the ball loose, going to run out and get a fast break over LeBron James. We've seen the three-point shooting, the offensive stick back. This is why they went out to get him. They thought he was that last piece missing to get him the championship. And again, come fourth quarter, he was so good the other night with 9 points. Tonight already 7. We still have a lot of time to go. Almost 5 minutes here in the fourth period that will go.
Pavlovich. He's had the touch. 12 points for Sasha Pavlovich. So the Cavaliers down by 3. Cleveland is down to 1 timeout remaining. Detroit with 3 and a 20. 4.5 to play in the fourth. That's deflected out. Last touch by the Cavaliers.
Well, LeBron James, it's been a struggle in the second half. How about in the first half, Cleveland had 28 points in the paint. In the second half, only 4. And you see the second half, 4 points, only 2 of 5 in the field. The turnovers, he has really struggled here as Detroit has picked up the level of their defense.
Shot clock down to 5. Prince spinning his way. Dice is there and had it knocked away. Brown looking for a foul. James trying to Slip through, met by McDyess on the switch. Now James, rejected by McDyess. He thought he was fouled. Hamilton, and he is stripped. Recovered by Prince. Oh, taken away by Hughes, but he's out of bounds. What a sequence.
But how about the block at the other end by McDyess? What a tough spot to be in, one-on-one defensively against LeBron James. And McDyess holds his ground, gets that left arm up there, and James's struggles continue.
5 blocked shots in all for the Pistons. The other night, Rasheed Wallace had a career-high 7 by himself. Phillips. Shot clock to 3. Here's Wallace for 3. Knocked away from Marshall. What a play by McDyess, slapping it away from Marshall. Another possession for the Pistons.
Well, tonight we see McDyess on the floor. He's out there because he can give them some experience. The other night it was Jason Maxiell.
Shot clock down to 7. Offensive foul. Well, Bernie Fryer did not like the reaction from Rasheed Wallace, and Rasheed wisely made his way down the floor. So Wallace called for his 3rd.
Well, anytime you play against Andrews and Varejao, you have to be very careful. Actually, it's LeBron here, and not much. I mean, that's a tough call. Nothing going on, totally away from the play. You can see why Rasheed is upset. I thought Varejao grabbed his arm and they got tangled up, but that wasn't the case.
Here's Hughes, slapped away by Wallace.
Like a football game.
You know, at halftime, Cleveland had 50 points. Maybe they're going to get 90 tonight. They have 21 points here in the second half.
You said in game 1 that maybe first team to 90 wins. It looks like in this series it's going to be first team to 80.
Right.
34 points, second quarter by the Cavaliers. Varejao wide open. Varejao had the open shot. Miscommunication on the part of the Pistons defensively. The Detroit lead is down to 1, just under 3 remaining in the 4th. Varejao 14 points, 12 rebounds off the bench. Phillips run into by Marshall. It's a non-shooting foul. Second team foul called on the Cavaliers.
Now, if this becomes a foul shooting contest late in the game, then that goes way in the advantage of the Detroit Pistons, especially with Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton, if they're going to have the ball in their hands, which they usually do.
Prince, Wallace, McDyess up front. Phillips and Hamilton are at the guards. Good play by Pavlovich. Stripping Hamilton. Pavlovich all the way, and that will count. It's a goaltend. What an end-to-end play by Sasha Pavlovich. Cavaliers up by 1.
Pavlovich with the quick hands forcing the steal. Look at the athletic move here. Hamilton tries to get his hand on it. Pavlovich up and under, goaltending, and the Cavaliers have a 1-point lead. This is amazing. 5 turnovers now for Billups, 7 in game 1. This is a guy who perennially is at the top of the list in terms of assist to turnover ratio in the NBA.
And the Pistons with 3 turnovers the last 2 minutes of play. Remember, Cleveland had 5 consecutive earlier in this 4th quarter. James gets the pass to Marshall for 3. Marshall able to get to it.
McDyess sort of was in no man's land for that rebound. He ran at the shooter and then sort of stopped right behind him, and the ball came right back into the lap of Donyell Marshall.
Foul on Hamilton, his 4th. So the next team foul for the Pistons will put them over the limit. A minute and 56 left in the 4th quarter. Cavaliers with it. They lead by 1. James met by Prince. Here's LeBron off the dribble. James wins out. Detroit with the chance to recapture the lead. Coming up on a minute and a half to go in the 4th. Wallace, and he's fouled. Wallace got the step, and as he did, he was hit from behind. The foul on Varejao. So Rasheed, foul in the act, will shoot 2. And he'll make his first appearances at the line. Log on to TNT Overtime on NBA.com to see the Pistons rip out. James able to get to it. The Pistons and the Cavaliers tied at 75. We are down to 1:15 to play in the fourth. Here's James putting the move on Wallace and draws the foul. So LeBron will go to the line to shoot two.
Now we're going to see the free throw shooting under pressure. This is what we had talked about the other night. Tonight now he has been there 5 times. He is 4 of 5. So like what LeBron did that time. He got the defense in the air and he just threw himself into traffic.
During the regular season, LeBron shot just under 70% at the line. Did not attempt a free throw in game 1. And getting the treatment from this crowd. LeBron hits 1 of 2. Cavaliers lead 76-75. We are approaching 1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter. Wallace guarded by Marshall. They clear it out. The pass intended for Phillips and picked off by Marshall.
Boy, careless pass from Rasheed. You got to be sure of that one.
Yeah, high risk, low reward on that pass.
Cavaliers playing the clock here. Down to 10 on the 24. It's all LeBron. Puts the move on Wallace. Fires it to the corner. Pavlovich. Oh, he changed his mind and he's called for the travel. Oh, that's a bad possession.
Now, once again, LeBron got in the lane. He's got to take that shot there. I mean, he jumped in the air. Even if he's contested, he's around the rim. Get it up there. Maybe you can get an offensive rebound.
A lot of extra thinking there. Berger went flying, trying to draw a foul. Did not want this. Wallace knocks down the jumper. The Cavaliers use their final timeout, and Mike Brown is furious. He thought there should have been an offensive foul.
An incredible shot from Rasheed Wallace, but watch the left arm here, the right arm, the push off there. Now remember, Berger is a flopper, so sometimes the officials aren't going to go for it. Flip Saunders loves it, but Mike Brown furious after that shot went in, and Detroit takes a 1-point lead.
To see what they're going to do.
Pistons are over the foul limit. Next foul for the Cavaliers puts them over. So the ball in the hands of LeBron James. We're down to 20 seconds in the fourth. Detroit by 1. Hamilton on James. Down to 10. Here's LeBron spinning. Not able to hit. To Hughes for the fadeaway. Comes up short and misses. And Detroit is on it. With 1 second remaining in the fourth quarter. Foul is called on Marshall.
Boy, Mike Brown is livid right now, saying that is a foul. That's going to be a technical. He is livid. Thought that LeBron got fouled on the drive. But how about the ball bounces right to Larry Hughes? What do you have? About a 7-footer there?
Well, then Berger ends up with a tip that almost goes in. Let's see if there was a foul here, though. Cleveland really taking its time. LeBron kind of going up. I don't think you can call that. I mean, Hamilton had position. This is the one that the Cavaliers really needed. A wide open look for Hughes. And same situation as the other night.
So Phillips shooting the technical foul that is called on the head coach, Mike Brown. Just 1 second remaining. Pistons in possession. They lead by 2. The miss by LeBron. I agree. I don't think he was fouled. And then Larry Hughes with the short jump opportunity. The missed tip by Varejao. And that was it. As Hamilton, who was fouled by Marshall as he chased the ball down, will shoot 2. LeBron James upset in a heated discussion with the official, Mark Wunderlich. So the Detroit Pistons will go 2-0 in this best-of-7 Eastern Conference Final.
And the same final score.
First team to 79 wins, I guess, in this series.
And we have passed Groundhog Day, I believe.
Well, Mike Brown, they need to get him out of here. He wants to leave the floor in a timely possession. There is the shot. The ball bounces right to Larry Hughes. He has a little point-blank shot, and there's Mike Brown. He was very, very upset. Thought that LeBron should be shooting 2 free throws.
Well, there was contact, but I think the key from the official's point of view is that Hamilton had position. He held his ground. He didn't hold his arms down, over the top of LeBron on that shot. And boy, the life of an NBA coach, Mike Brown. I mean, he could walk out of here with a 2-0 lead.